you're here because you want the inside track on what's shaping the pharmaceutical and life science industries, especially, when it comes to the latest tech.
Yeah, we get it.
You need to be informed. But wading through all those dense reports, it can be pretty overwhelming.
Totally.
So let's cut to the chase and dive into the 2025 outlook for data, AI, analytics, and the Internet of Things.
Right. And our guides for this are a couple of fresh 451 research previews. One's focused squarely on data, AI, and analytics.
And the other one covers IoT, edge computing, and digital industries.
And these aren't just like crystal ball predictions. They're based on surveys, talking to actual IT decision makers, plus some serious market analysis.
Exactly. So our mission today is pretty simple. Pull out the really vital trends and explore what they could actually mean for your world pharma life sciences. What are the impacts? And maybe more importantly, where are the opportunities?
And what's really interesting, I think, is how these big tech shifts bump right up against the very specific high-stakes nature of pharma and life sciences.
How so?
Well, you're talking about an industry driven by huge scientific breakthroughs, right? But also governed by incredibly strict regulations handling data that's super sensitive.
Good point.
So as we unpack these trends, it's worth keeping in mind how they might play out differently. Maybe even revolutionize how things get done day to day in this field.
Okay, let's get into it then. First up, generative AI. GenAI. The reports are suggesting that, after a lot of buzz and experimentation last year.
Yeah, 2024 was definitely the year of trying things out.
Right. But 2025 is going to be about showing the results, the return on investment, the ROI.
Makes sense. The money question.
So in pharma, we've heard loads about using GenAI to maybe speed up drug discovery, make clinical trial analysis slicker, even personalized medicine. But if those tangible, cost-effective outcomes don't start showing up, what happens then? Where does the focus shift?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? The excitement was real, no doubt. But, yeah, that pressure to justify the spend, it's going to ramp up. But interestingly, the survey data shows that 50% of organizations do expect a strong positive impact from GenAI. But maybe in slightly different areas initially.
Like what?
Like risk management, operational efficiencies. So for you folks in pharma, maybe think about where those early wins could realistically happen. Could GenAI help streamline, say, the super complex regulatory submission process?
Oh, that'd be huge.
Or maybe optimizing how resources get allocated in R&D? But even with these ROI questions, the reports also see the GenAI market growing, like 68%.
Yeah.
Big number.
So the belief is still there.
Seems like it.
Yeah.
But it suggests, a continued belief in the power, but probably a pivot, a move towards more focused, task-specific AI stuff.
Right. Less AI for everything, more AI for this specific thing.
Exactly. Think less general-purpose models, more bespoke AI tools, maybe designed specifically for analyzing certain genomic data or predicting drug interactions really accurately.
That makes a lot of sense, moving from those broad strokes to targeted solutions where you can really see the value clearly. And speaking of creating stuff, another trend they highlighted is GenAI moving beyond just text. We're talking images, video. How could that reshape things in pharma and life sciences?
Well, if you think about all the communication and training needs in your field, this opens up some really fascinating possibilities, doesn't it?
Thanks.
Imagine using AI to generate realistic but totally synthetic medical images. You could train diagnostic algorithms on way more varied conditions without ever touching real patient privacy.
Oh, okay.
Or think about creating personalized patient education videos, engaging visuals, explaining complex treatments. Simply, that could seriously improve adherence outcomes.
Yeah, you should see that.
And the fact that over a third of organizations already using GenAI expect to use it for content creation, that really underlines the potential for, just better, more impactful communication across the board in pharma.
Now, with all this power ramping up, the reports also really hammer home the growing importance of AI governance. That feels especially critical in the pharma world, right? Super regulated.
Oh, absolutely. Non-negotiable. You've got new regs coming in like the EU AI Act. And for pharma, this is table stakes.
Right.
You're dealing with patient safety, life-altering treatments. Any AI you use, drug discovery, clinical trials, diagnostics, even just talking to doctors, it has to be trustworthy, safe, fully compliant. Period.
So the tools need to keep up.
Exactly. And the trend of AI governance tools becoming sort of standard features in data science platforms, that's vital. It gives you the mechanisms to actually maintain that compliance.
Okay, another concept they talk about is agentic AI, this idea where AI models can kind of orchestrate complex tasks using different tools, different data sources.
Yeah, think of them like AI coordinator.
What kind of real-world impact could we see from these, well, more autonomous AI agents in pharma and life sciences?
Ooh, imagine AI agents that could intelligently sift through mountains of scientific papers to flag novel drug targets.
That'd save some time.
Or automate the really tedious process of adverse event reporting, freeing up highly skilled people for more complex work. And there's potential for agents to analyze diverse patient data, obviously within very strict ethical and privacy boundaries, to help personalize treatment plans.
And making this accessible.
Well, the trend towards low-code, no-code platforms could definitely help deploy these agents more easily, but, and this is a big but the reports highlight, you absolutely need robust governance frameworks for these autonomous systems, especially around data accuracy and security with sensitive health info.
Makes sense. Trust but verify constantly. Okay, efficiency, always a big one. The reports highlight a growing focus on inferencing efficiency. Now, just to clarify for listeners, inferencing is when the AI model actually makes a prediction using new data, right?
That's it. It's the AI doing its job in the real world.
So why is making that efficient becoming so crucial, particularly in pharma and life sciences?
Well, because we're moving beyond just building models in the lab, right? We're deploying them in actual healthcare settings.
Yeah.
And the speed, the efficiency of those predictions, it becomes critical. Think about edge computing here. Imagine AI diagnostic tools analyzing medical images right there, locally, giving near-instant results.
At the point of care.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or wearable devices monitoring vitals constantly, triggering immediate alerts if something is wrong, all without needing to constantly ping a remote cloud server.
Less lag, faster response.
Precisely. And the survey data shows this rising demand for inferencing power right on the IT infrastructure. It really emphasizes the need for AI models and the hardware they run on to be optimized for those, sometimes resource-limited environments you find in healthcare.
This feels like it leads right into the next point, more specialized and domain-specific AI models. So instead of one giant AI trying to do everything.
Yeah, we're seeing a definite shift towards models that are tailor-made for specific industries, even specific tasks within those industries.
And what does that mean concretely for pharma and life sciences? Because that sounds pretty relevant.
Oh, it's hugely relevant. A really exciting development for the industry, I think. We're already seeing examples, right?
Right.
Like Google's DeepMind has stuff focused on pharmaceutical research.
Right, I've heard about that.
And Microsoft partnering with Bayer on vertical AI solutions. This trend suggests we'll see more and more AI models designed specifically for pharma's unique challenges.
Like what kind of challenges?
Well, maybe analyzing complex regulatory documents much faster and more accurately, or improving the precision of medical image diagnostics, even getting deeper insights from patient feedback to, make drug development and care better.
And the partnerships are key here too.
Definitely. These partnerships between big tech and industry leaders like IBM's collaborations, they signal a massive opportunity for pharma companies themselves. They could leverage their own incredibly valuable proprietary data to build truly cutting-edge, specialized AI.
Okay, data. It all comes back to data. The reports talk about synthetic data, artificially created data for training AI. Why is this such a big deal, potentially game-changing for pharma?
Synthetic data is super interesting because it helps overcome some massive hurdles in applying AI in pharma and life sciences.
Like privacy.
That's a huge one, but also data scarcity. Think about rare diseases. Getting enough real-world patient data is incredibly hard. Synthetic data lets you create valuable data sets for those situations.
Oh, okay.
It can also be used to augment existing clinical trial data, maybe boost the statistical power. And crucially, it lets you train models without exposing sensitive patient health information. That addresses critical privacy needs, regulatory stuff like IPA.
And are people actually using it?
Seems so. The report says nearly half of organizations building AI models are already using generated data. And GenAI itself is expected to make creating this synthetic data even faster.
But there must be caveats.
Oh, for sure. Their reports rightly stress that you need really strong data governance and clear data lineage. You have to know where this synthetic data came from, how it was made, and ensure it's high quality and reliable, especially for critical uses.
Right, garbage in, garbage out, even if it's synthetic garbage. Okay, another challenge. All that unstructured content. Research papers, doctor's notes, medical images. The reports mention a coming reckoning around privacy and security. What's the core issue there for our listeners?
The fundamental problem is this. You've got this massive ocean of unstructured data, right?
Mm.
And it holds incredible potential for AI discovery, better patient care,
Well,
but it's also packed with sensitive information, making it a huge privacy and security risk if you don't handle it carefully.
and are companies handling it carefully?
Well, the stat that over half of organizations building AI models rely heavily on archive storage systems never designed for intense AI processing. That's pretty telling.
Yikes. So data could be exposed.
Potentially. For pharma, this means huge amounts of valuable data could be inadvertently exposed or mishandled if it's not properly identified, locked down, and governed.
Yeah.
Given how regulated the industry is and how severe the consequences of a medical data breach are, getting control of this unstructured content isn't just tech, it's a business and ethical must-do if you want to use AI responsibly.
So, okay, you develop these models, you get the data sorted. How do you actually manage them safely and effectively in a pharma setting? The reports introduce GenAI Ops. What is that exactly, and why should pharma and life science orgs pay attention?
GenAI Ops, generative AI operations. It's basically the discipline, the practice of making sure that when you deploy these GenAI models out into the wild, they're reliable, accurate, and secure.
How's it different from regular MLOps?
Well, GenAI's ability to create new content introduces unique challenges, right? Around data privacy again, IP, the potential for weird or wrong outputs, hallucinations.
Right.
So for pharma, where AI might be used in critical spots, drug manufacturing QC, clinical decision support, patient chatbots, you absolutely need robust operationalization. You need to manage that whole life cycle carefully.
And LLM Ops is part of this.
Yeah, LML-ups for large language models is a key subset. It just shows there's growing recognition of the specific operational challenges these powerful, complex models bring, especially in your industry.
Okay, the reports also mention vector support ubiquity and RAG environment optionality. These sound technical.
Can you break down why someone in pharma or life sciences should care about these?
Yeah, they sound a bit jargony, but they're actually really important tools for dealing with all that data we just talked about, especially the unstructured stuff.
Go on.
Think of vector databases as super efficient libraries for understanding the meaning within huge amounts of text, images, whatever. They store data as numbers, vectors that capture relationships. This enables something called semantic search.
Searching by meaning, not just keywords. Exactly. So for pharma, this could totally change how researchers search scientific literature, how doctors find relevant patient info, privately, of course, how companies manage internal knowledge.
Okay, I see the value there. And ARG.
That enhanced search is fundamental to ARG retrieval augmented generation. Basically, you use the vector database, or similar tools, to find relevant, up-to-date external information and feed it to the GenAI model before it generates an answer.
Ah, so it makes the AI smarter, more grounded in facts.
Precisely. It makes the outputs more accurate, more contextually relevant. Super important. The fact that most orgs building AI models are using vector databases shows how key this is for unlocking the value in unstructured life science data.
And the optionality part of ARG.
That just means the technology is evolving. You'll get more choices, more flexibility in how you design and manage these RG pipelines to fine-tune the accuracy and reliability of the AI's output, which in healthcare is obviously critical. You need answers you can trust.
Makes sense. Okay, last one from the data and AI side. This idea of IoT platforms failing upward. That sounds weird. What does it mean, and how does it connect to pharma and life sciences?
It is a slightly funny term, isn't it? But it basically means that while maybe those huge standalone do-everything IoT platforms didn't quite take over the world as some predicted.
Right.
The core things they do, especially around managing data from connected devices, are now becoming essential building blocks for other critical stuff, especially AI and analytics.
So the function is still vital, just not the original platform vision.
Exactly. Think about pharma and life sciences. You've got more and more connected medical devices for remote monitoring, smart lab equipment churning out data, sensors in manufacturing plants. IoT platform capabilities provide the plumbing, the infrastructure to securely connect all that, collect and manage the massive data streams, and get that data ready for AI analysis.
So even if you're not buying a big IoT platform, you're using its guts.
Pretty much. Those foundational capabilities are quietly becoming embedded in your AIOps strategies, how you manage hybrid AI models across cloud and local systems, and those advanced data prep pipelines for training the specialized AI we talked about earlier. It failed up into being essential infrastructure.
Okay, interesting. Now let's shift focus a bit more squarely to the Internet of Things report itself. One key trend they see is that generative AI will rapidly become an edge story. What are the implications of pushing GenAI closer to the data source, the edge, in pharma or life science?
This is potentially huge for healthcare. Really significant. Imagine bringing GenAI power directly to the medical device or the diagnostic equipment.
What would that enable?
Real-time analysis of data streaming from, say, a patient's wearable monitor. Much faster processing of medical images right there at the point of care in the clinic or hospital room.
So quicker diagnoses.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Or localized AI decision support right within a hospital or a research lab without needing to send everything back to the cloud first.
So latency becomes less of an issue.
Right. The report notes that organizations already doing edge computing will likely just integrate AI there. But the potential use cases for GenAI at the edge in healthcare, faster diagnoses, quicker alerts for critical events, less reliance on constant connectivity, might actually push organizations to adopt edge computing specifically for these AI applications.
Got it. The IoT report also really emphasizes zero trust and network microsegmentation in OT environments.
Yeah.
Operational technology. Why is this security piece so critical for pharma, especially in areas like manufacturing or research labs?
Okay, so OT environments in pharma, that's your manufacturing plants, your labs, even building systems.
Yeah.
Cybersecurity there is absolutely paramount. You cannot mess around.
Because the risks are so high.
Exactly. You've got all this equipment getting connected, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, cyber threats targeting these critical systems are getting way more sophisticated. Old school perimeter security just doesn't cut it anymore.
So zero trust.
Zero trust operates on the principle of never trust, always verify. Every connection, every access attempt gets scrutinized. And microsegmentation complements that by dividing the network into small, isolated zones.
So if one part gets breached, it doesn't spread easily.
Precisely. For pharma, think about the consequences. A cyber attack could halt drug production. It could compromise incredibly sensitive R&D data. It could even impact patient safety if connected medical devices are affected. Adopting these advanced security measures for lab gear, manufacturing controls, everything connected, it's becoming non-negotiable.
Absolutely critical.
Right.
Okay, before we dig into the last couple of points, I just want to take a quick moment to thank our sponsor, pharmaaiacademy.com.
Great resource.
Yeah, if you're looking to really get a handle on how AI is transforming the pharmaceutical and life science industries, pharmaaiacademy.com offers free specialized training. It's specifically tailored to this rapidly evolving landscape. Seriously valuable for building your skills and staying ahead. Check them out.
Definitely worth a look.
Okay, back to the IoT report. It mentions drones being used more in sectors like power, utilities, oil and gas for inspections, data gathering. Now, obviously, that's not directly pharma, but are there potential analogies or future uses for similar autonomous systems in our industry?
It's a good question. While the immediate use cases look different on the surface, the core idea using autonomous systems for remote data collection, inspection could definitely find applications in pharma down the line.
How so?
Well, imagine autonomous robots, maybe drones or other types, deployed inside manufacturing facilities. They could do highly precise quality control checks in sterile environments or get into hard-to-reach spots.
Okay. Consistency, safety.
Or remote monitoring of critical environmental conditions in labs or storage facilities. And thinking further out, maybe autonomous systems could play a role in delivering specialized medicines or even conducting remote diagnostics in places that are hard to serve.
Interesting possibilities.
Yeah, the key takeaway isn't necessarily drones specifically, but this broader trend of using autonomous tech in highly regulated industries to boost efficiency, improve safety, and collect data in new ways.
Right. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the 2025 trends data, AI, analytics, IoT, looking specifically through that pharma and life science lens, what are the main interconnected themes that really jump out at you?
There are definitely a few critical threads running through all of this, I think. First, that initial, maybe slightly frothy enthusiasm for GenAI. It's maturing. It's shifting to a more pragmatic focus on showing real ROI and developing those specialized task-focused models that really hit the specific challenges and opportunities in pharma.
And underpinning all that.
Underpinning it is the absolute necessity for rock-solid AI governance and really stringent security. You just can't compromise when you're dealing with patient data and regulations. Then there's the data infrastructure piece. It needs to be efficient, intelligent. Things like vector databases and RA are becoming key tools to actually unlock the value buried in all that unstructured life science data.
Turning data into insights.
Exactly. And finally, the role of IoT is definitely evolving. It's becoming this crucial enabler, creating new ways to deploy AI right where the action is closer to the patient, the research bench, the manufacturing line for real-time analysis and better decisions.
Yeah, these trends really paint a picture of, well, significant and pretty rapid change for the whole sector in the next year or so. It definitely sounds like the individuals, the organizations that really try to understand these shifts and adapt strategically, they'll be the ones best placed to innovate and get that competitive edge.
Precisely. It's not just about, grabbing the latest tech buzzword. It's about thoughtfully applying these advancements to solve real problems, improve patient outcomes, and push the science forward within the very unique context of pharma and life sciences.
So here's a final thought to leave everyone with. Considering this powerful convergence of AI and IoT and the rise of these specialized industry-focused models, what previously unimaginable possibilities, maybe in drug discovery or personalized medicine or patient care, what might actually become reality in the near future, maybe even within your own organization? It's certainly a lot to think about as we look ahead. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.